Hello, hello. How is it going today, Morgan?
Good morning. Happy Friday. Today is going to be such a unique experience here on the B2B Power Hour.
Is
We're
it
doing
because more
something,
than just because then Good Friday? That it's a
well,
really good Friday?
I mean, it's a really good Friday. That's a bad Catholic joke. I have close friends who are Catholic. Come on, man. It is a really good Friday. But no, today we're doing something special. So, hey everyone, thanks for being here. If you're here, drop a hello in chat. We'd love to say hello to you. We're so excited that you're here. And we're doing profile reviews today on the B2B Power Hour.
Yeah.
We've had a ton of submissions for people to review their profiles. We have a list of names and we're going to do our best to get through as many as possible today in our time together. And I am thrilled, Nick, to do the show with you this morning.
And thank you everyone that volunteered as tribute for us to go and review. And I want to let everybody I want to let everybody know we're not going to tear you apart. We're going to be respectful. And the way we're looking at your account is how somebody would look at your account if they were a prospect.
hmm hmm
And so, how are they looking at your account? How do they quickly go and review so that you are standing out in the right way? And we're going to show you the quick highlights because, of course, we've all been there where you've gone over your profile and you've gone, God, Morgan, hey, you've
Yeah.
gone through your
Oh
profile
gosh.
over and over and over and over, and you send it to someone, you ask someone, and you can get stuck in this cycle of it's not good enough. It could be
hmm
better.
hmm
But the funny part is, that only matters to you to a certain degree. We found that there's only certain things that people look for on a regular basis. And of course, there's ways to get better. But we want to show you where you should focus to get the best bang for your buck
hmm
and not get caught in the busy trap.
And just as we get into this, there's a couple short. I love the fancy word heuristics. It sounds so fancy, but basically shortcuts. We think about. One we call the 3 second test, which we're going to mention a lot, which is just when somebody visits your profile, is there a good enough reason for them to scroll down? Is there enough in the substance of the top stuff that they scroll down to the lower stuff? And then we're also going to be looking at clarity, really. Like, is it clear what you do, who you serve? Is that expressed in all of your different stuff? So we're going to do a lot of compare and contrast. We've got some great profiles. Thank you again for everyone who submitted. And hello to everyone who's dropped in chat. Gabriel, Cynthia, Ryan, Paul, Tracy, Athme, Tim, Lydia, everybody else who's watching who hasn't dropped the chat. Hello, good morning. Nick, you ready to dive in? Because we got some ground to cover.
And if you know anybody that you've recently talked about getting a better profile, or they just joined back on LinkedIn and they want to invest in their profile or just stand out, tag them. Tag them
Tag
right
them in.
now so they know that we're about to start so they can jump in here because it'll be time stamped.
Yes, it is. Hey, Michelle. Hey, everybody else. All right,
You
Nick.
ready?
Yep, let's kick her off.
Okay, I'm gonna go and try something else so that I don't lose my screen here in my chat.
Okay.
If this doesn't work, I
Yep.
will have to go back to what we did before. So
Okay. This is
if
a
the
first here. We usually are just talking heads on a live show. And so we're doing something new and fancy called a screen share. Sorry.
oh, there's other stuff that you can do in here that I didn't know. And
Huh.
background music. What the hell? Sorry, guys. Stuff that they.
Apparently, if we wanted elevator music during this live show, we could enable it, which is unique, shall we?
I might have to switch to the other side. I don't know why it's. Ah, there it is. Okay, let's see what this looks like.
Okay.
Okay.
So, first up, Leslie Van Etz. Hello, Leslie, friend of the show.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Is it big enough? Is that okay, Morgan, or should I go
Yeah.
back to how we had it before?
We could probably go back to how we had it before.
Ah, crap. Okay.
I know. Sorry.
It's all good. All good. So I'm just going to look like I'm staring into the abyss.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, Nick. There we go.
Better?
Yay! Hello. Yep.
Let's do it.
So, 3 second test. Yeah, I'm interested.
What's the first thing that goes through your head? What is the first thing you notice?
The bright yellow header for sure. Um, but honestly, from like a design sense, I actually don't read the header.
No?
I No, I'm actually looking at the headline. The transforming sales into a more inclusive, respected profession is great. I'd
Really good.
yeah, that would be enough for me to sort of scroll down and say, "Huh, I wonder what Leslie's up to." So that's my 3 second test.
The first thing that catches me, A, your profile picture is great.
Mm,
And as we've learned, smiles make a huge difference on connecting with people. Depending on what color background, even your one you use on TikTok is really good too. Really good headshot. All the new ones that you've done. I'm not a big fan of this. Actually, goes against what you're doing because it when I see font that's hard to read and it forces me to kind of
mm.
take to stop and pause, it doesn't work. So the only thing I would say is I love your tagline,
Yep.
love your profile picture. I would
Hmm.
update this.
Hmm.
It
I just try some different designs to see. I think it could be along the profile. It could be something about the color. It could be something about the font. It's just, um, yeah, not enough for me to fully understand what's going on here.
yeah. I will say one thing that it's not whenever you pull it up on mobile,
Hmm.
it'll only cover maybe sales. It wouldn't cover everything. And it's out of the way of your headshot, so that's good.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Um,
Good
love the
featured
Yep, love the featured.
post link unleash. So this is good. You have one link. Stop learning posts.
Yep, playbooks and posts looks good.
And your activity is great.
Oh, of course. I mean, super active.
But this is the biggest things that I look at. I
Mhm.
actually ever scroll down to here.
Same.
It doesn't I don't find it really and then the about section, if you really like it and you want to buy, people go and click more and they'll dive into here.
Hmm.
And you have a lot of good social proof, good understand. Yeah.
Hmm.
Passionate. Sometimes we talk about changing this to about the person that's reading it, not having it about you.
Hmm.
But we've had mixed reviews on that one.
Yeah, and like I think it's because it sort of flows naturally with the tagline. I think it's probably fine in this instance. Yeah.
Yeah, Leslie, you have a great profile. Your tagline is killer. Also have good. These are good. I would look at TikTok for business to see if it's actually used or if you're just using that for yourself.
Hmm.
Anybody that has creator mode on, like Leslie does, it gives you about a 15% boost in visibility on these hashtags.
Hmm.
So you get one more, you get a max of 5. And yeah, who do we have next?
That's
Will.
awesome, Leslie. Thanks for sharing. Will Aitken, another friend of the show. If you haven't seen Will's TikToks, you should check them out. They're so funny. Um, all right, so this is a great example of like a header that immediately captures my attention. Design,
Great.
clarity. It's like great. He has a joke as a tagline, which is actually really funny, and it um, blends in with his content. It's enough for me again to sort of like scroll down off of this. And I think what's clear here is it's actually driving a lot of attention to his activity feed instead of his about, because it's new sales content every week, sales comedy and advice videos, etc. And so I want to scroll down and actually see, what he's doing. Oh, I guess LinkedIn has decided not to load today.
Weird.
Any thoughts on the 3 second test?
It's good. It tells me why to follow him right away.
Hmm.
It looks professional and clean, whether it's on web or on mobile. You'll be able to see the whole thing. It makes him stand out because it's an actual punchy piece to his profile.
Yeah,
And so
100%.
it's like, TikTok proposal, sales humor, sales advice. I don't know what the volume is on those. It'd be something I would just go and double check. And sales is big, but normally it's dominated by sales, like people that have stuff on sale. And so I would look at B2B sales, SaaS. Just SaaS actually does a lot better than SaaS sales or B2B SaaS. And maybe if you're doing sales humor, find something that is just you that makes it easy for people to get caught up.
Mm-hmm. That could be
I can
awesome.
try refreshing this and see if it'll
If LinkedIn will
give
behave
me a
this morning
chart.
for our live show.
There we go.
There. Okay, so here's interesting. Immediately featured some of his top performing posts. As you can tell, he's gone viral on the platform a number of times. He has great TikToks, honestly. And even that post that's highlighted is indicative of his tone. And then his about section I also really enjoy. Yeah.
The one thing I will say, Will, is you're going to want to add something about what you do. It doesn't have to, I would make it in these first three. So what is the ask? Do you want them to follow you? Do you want them to go to sales feed and follow them? Do you want them to join a community, take a course? This is a good opportunity to put it in right here, or even book a meeting with you. But
Mhm.
highlighting who you are and showing why you is really good.
Yep. Now,
Super clean about section.
yeah, and even if you click see more on this one, Nick. So this is actually really good because this is an example of a really tailored about section, and I definitely have pros and cons of something like this. I think you have to be really dialed in your offers and in what you want people to do for this to work. Like this probably wouldn't work on smaller accounts. And that's, by day, here's a YouTube link, by night, here's a TikTok link. And like that is a great simple CTA. You could always add more color, but I think people see your content in feed and that's what you want them to do. So this is probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say nice and clean. And then one thing that you guys need to look at, if to know if you're on track, is look at who people also viewed.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Looks like he's on track.
you're on track, buddy.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job. So this is a great profile.
Nice, Will. All right. Laura Erdem, our friend at Dream Data.
I think is on vacation this week.
I think so. So the whole Dream Data team has this interesting tact of somewhat different headers that are communicating the same things. And obviously, this is one of the ways that they're communicating this. Um,
There we go.
there we go. Yep. So the header's probably good, but it could be more. I actually quite like the header. I think either your CRO or CEO has for like revenue attribution. And because you're an account executive, I actually quite like the way you've handled the tagline because you've sort of you scraped away the fact that you're an account executive. You actually have to scroll to learn that. And instead you just said basically here's what we do, or here's what I might talk about, or here's something that I focus on at dreamdata.io. That's a great way to use a tagline for a sales professional that doesn't just say your title. It's just here's what it is.
And they all kept it too. So it plays
Oh
really
yeah.
well to how they have it set up as a team.
Yep.
I think if you're going to go the cartoony,
Hmm.
use this image to go and tell a story. I'm not a big fan of this because I know you do great work and it just seems not as polished as it could be.
Yeah.
Just something to consider. Good brand colors, everything else.
Hmm.
Great tagline. The employee advocacy from you guys is unreal. And so when you look at individual profiles and then you look at the rest of you guys, it's you're definitely leading the charge for a lot of companies on how to do social well.
Yep. Without a doubt.
Featured.
So again, some of like the top performing posts, including very proudly a excerpt from the B2B Power Hour podcast, which showed up in episode 33, I would think. It was an awesome episode. I definitely like some of these posts, but I almost wonder, like what we had mentioned with Will, is if it would be a good opportunity to even just add one link to something interesting at Dream Data.
Yeah, whether it's like a if you're doing revenue attribution, if you went to one of your pages that you wanted people to go for a demo, or it was one of your really good value add pages, I'd put it in these top three.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
more you guys haven't featured, the smaller they get, just for the thumbnail image.
totally. Then very active. And then, so this is a really interesting way to structure an about section, Nick. What do you think?
This is fun.
I agree.
Personally, I like that you lead with personally, because instead of saying I and like starting about
Yeah.
you, you make it whole bullet point, so it's just light and fun.
hmm
That's awesome.
I really like the way this is structured. It helps people see you as a person before they see you as a role. And that's actually a big personal branding play, right? You're connecting with somebody personally instead of where they currently work. And I love the fun fact at the end. The only I do like the ask me how beneath professionally, but I wonder if that could deserve an emoji or some sort of call out, because that CTA actually gets buried and my eye is automatically drawn to the fun fact at the end because it ends with an emoji. So you might consider adding some brackets, adding some hyphens, something like that around the ask me how on the professional, just to generate some more interest on that CTA.
Yeah, make it stand out, because it kind of pulls you into the currently testing out the hypothesis, which is fun,
Yeah.
but this kind of hides.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't allow your work profile to work for you
Yep.
as much as it could. But great section. This would
hmm
definitely pass all the tests. And Goodard. And
Next.
yeah,
Okay, so just before we go to
next.
the next one, which is Jenny Anderson, Nick. Um,
Go ahead.
Peter had dropped his profile link in the comments. I think we're probably not going to be able to get to that today. I'm sorry. But if you want to DM me personally, I'd be happy to review your profile and maybe send you a video through Vidyard or something like that and give you some feedback. So we had, I think, something upwards of like 20 submissions for our live show today. So we're doing our best to get through these. So Tomas and Peter, et cetera, please drop them in my DMs and I'd be happy to give you some feedback.
This is
And
so much fun.
so I was just about to say, begin, Nick. What's your 3-second test?
I want to know more. I
Yeah.
instantly want to know more. This is so, like when I was saying with Laura that I wanted to go and see like that cartoony fun because it had that vibe to it.
Yeah.
This is done so well. It's clean, and I think on mobile too, it would drop right here, so you're only cutting off the hashtags. You're seeing the whole thing, but this adds personality. It adds flair, and so people want more. You're looking into the camera on your profile picture, and you have a smile.
hmm
Changing lives via SaaS sales. So this is really about you,
hmm
and it tells me for who.
hmm
Good hashtags. I don't know about job search tips. I know SaaS
Yeah, I'm
sales
not familiar with
actually
that.
isn't as good as just SaaS, because it's mainly just SaaS salespeople that are searching SaaS. I don't know about sales hiring. I haven't looked at B2B sales is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my 3-second test, Jenny, and I saw you're in our chat today. Hello. Thank you for being here. Um, you the three things that stand out to me immediately is your banner image just adds so much personality, and it's also an interesting way that you're adding context to who you are and what you do inside the banner and not funneling all of that inside your tagline or your headline on your profile. Because so I almost wonder of like, I don't know. I actually quite like your headline. I think it tells three different stories pretty well, and can. But I almost wonder about even simplifying it or like running some experiments to see if leading with training and placing more women in sales could have a greater impact on connection request strategies and like follower counts. But I don't know off the cuff whether that would make any difference. I think it's just it would be worth testing out.
Yeah, maybe ask your past customers what did they hire you for in their own
Yeah.
words? And that
Hmm.
could be a really nice way to go and make it really about them and what they were looking to get. This is awesome. I don't know why it's showing people you may know, because it's, for me, it's not showing the other profiles.
Interesting.
Oh, I love your colors.
Yeah, so one interesting thing about like personal branding is that it is about like what you talk about and what people recognize you for, but some of that also in feed is visually what are we connecting with. And so like Michelle Griffin does a great job using her yellow. Like when you look at Michelle's content, it's all yellow. And here you've got this nice bright pink that catches the eye even on a profile. And honestly, I would even want to just click on one of these posts to see what they're about because it's so visually grabbing.
Yeah, this is very well done. All kind of the same idea. You put top performing posts. I would make it, if people are going and looking at your featured, they might want to book a meeting with you. So
Mhm.
if you're comfortable and you have it set where they have to answer questions and pre-qualify, I would put it at the start or have it in here. But your branding is amazing. Like, this is something that you see, you go look at enough profiles, you don't see this. This
No.
this really stands out. So
Mhm.
very, very well done. You might want to just cherry pick these and only have like 3. Looks like you have quite a few more, and kind of really tailor what you want people to see, and kind of like building a website, tailor it in the what they need to see first, what people talk about first, kind
Yeah.
of that hierarchy of information.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, one thing I've seen in these first few profiles is there's sort of the featured becomes your top performing posts of all time. And that's one strategy and that's fine. But it's not something I particularly advocate for because the question I'm trying to answer is when somebody comes to my profile, what do I want them to do next? And
Mhm.
sometimes my top performing posts don't answer that. Sometimes it's a medium performing post, or sometimes it's a link or something else. So I'm really thinking, like, as a funnel, what do I want them to do once they get to my profile besides clicking follow? And the featured section is the place to do that.
Hail Canva. Canva's amazing.
It
Yeah, and that's a
is.
good point. Where people start is they'll look at your tagline when you're commenting, then they'll also see your picture. When they go and see you, that you've looked at your profile, they'll be able to see this banner. That's why it's so important, because now LinkedIn is actually making it more evident, because it makes you stand out when you're scrolling through people that viewed your profile. This pops up and it has lots of color.
Yeah.
So
And you're
very
like,
well done.
whoa. Yeah. That's super cool.
The activity, most people, this is where they play.
Yep.
That's why I put featured right underneath. This is where they stop. Then activity is a big part, because if you have no activity in here in the last 30 days, your likelihood of having people connecting, I don't connect with you, because I'll go and look. I'm like, they're just trying to sell me something. They're just using social as a sales tool,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm. You want to
About
click this?
section,
Yeah. Click that see more really quick. So this is interesting. But so first glance,
mm,
I love the bullet list because it
same.
helps sort of segment the eye. I wonder about breaking apart that first paragraph into a few sentences or adding some color or some emojis to sort of like represent the personality you have elsewhere. Um,
Might be worth using Hemingway, the what's it called, the Hemingway editor or whatever, that tells
oh
you the
yeah,
rating score,
like
just
how
so that it
simple
makes
it
it,
is.
yeah, how simple it is to the flow. I love the bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
It allows me, it's almost like a la carte.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? It's
Yeah.
fantastic. But this
Uh-huh.
top part is what most people will read in the preview
Mm-hmm.
before I click show me more. This is critical.
And honestly, Jenny, right now my eye skips over it.
Yeah.
So because you have good bullet lists here, my eye naturally kind of just glances over the top paragraph and immediately is drawn to like the second or third chunk of bullets because it's so spaced well. So if you have like great stuff in that first section, which you do, you want it to be broken out in a way that the eye is not naturally going to just glance over it.
And add, when you're putting these bullet points, like pursuing my degree, I would
Hmm.
actually put what your degree was and have this as like your cheat sheet, so people can just get it all right here quick too. It also
Love that idea.
it gives you it gives people a way to go and reach out to you in a way that's personalized but relevant. Not,
Hmm.
hey, I saw we went to the same school. Would you like to buy my software?
Oh, geez.
And favorite quote said, that's personality spice. Good.
Sweet.
Love
Cool.
it.
Love it. Thanks, Jenny. Next is Emily Malmquist.
Ah, right there.
Hmm. Oh, and
Ooh,
Jenny drops in chat, definitely adding a website link to featured after this. Love this feedback. You're so welcome. It's such an amazing profile. Thanks for being here.
I love your headshot. It's got that like fun, like approachable
Oh,
vibe with the smile.
it's great.
It's a great headshot. Make a better impression.
Yeah, immediate. It's so funny. My brain immediately totally ignored the programmatic high impact advertising in URL because it's too thin and it's hidden. Um,
And it kind of washes out in the blue too.
yeah, it's interesting because like from a 3 second perspective, I'm actually not sure why to scroll.
Yeah, I'd have to go through deeper to go and figure out because you're head of marketing, but you give me this, but you don't tell me why it matters.
Yeah, and that's where like the programmatic high impact advertising is a great add-on. I think it just needs to be more visible or it needs to get thrown in the tagline. Cause so for like Nick's criteria that you had mentioned earlier, as we're prospecting, we're pulling up dozens of profiles, right?
Hmm.
You build your lead list and then you're sort of clicking through and you're seeing, is this person the right fit? I would arrive at this and I'd say, my instinct from this is okay, probably without scrolling, without seeing anything else. Okay, probably uses LinkedIn to sort of like consume content, but probably isn't all that active. And that may not be true, right? I don't actually think it is true. So it's that there needs to be a little more oomph up here to get my attention as to why to scroll.
And this might be one of the same, I forget who I said it about earlier. Talk to your customers and ask them like why they hired you and put it in their words and put that as your line. And you could even quote them.
Hmm.
Let your customer sell you. And yeah, play with your colors a little bit.
See, and I love that little
I like this though. Make a better impression and then how you make impressions stand out.
and I like that little logo treatment in the upper left. I wonder if that could be used as like a larger sort of attention grabber instead of something that's just hidden in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SaaS, B2B sales. I don't know how demand. I was looking at a few of these and
I think demand
marketing is
generation.
huge. I
Yeah.
don't know what demand gen, what type of volume it gets, and I don't know about data driven. It doesn't look like you're showing up with the right profiles right now. You're actually showing up with a lot of your competitors. And so maybe something to think about is how when you rewrite your profile, watch this to see if you're building your thought
Mm.
leadership and showing up with the right people because then it adds social proof when people also viewed the right people. So it's just something to consider.
Yeah. And that people also viewed
That's
section.
fun.
Okay, see, so this is interesting. Literally within 3 seconds of scrolling, now I'm like, ooh, what's this demand generation movement? What's this cool, photo profile? What are all these? And there's a link there for me to go read something. Like that's cool. But I would have missed this if I didn't scroll.
I don't know if this is your color scheme with that like chunky text. That's awesome. That really stands out.
Yep, 100%. All right.
You see, like where I was talking about before, like this is the preview. This is all you see is B2B tech marketer who's enjoying life
Mhm.
within the startup scale up scene, young, motivated, detailed with a focus on growth via data driven sales and marketing. So you got to really ask yourself is why are you using LinkedIn?
Mhm.
If you're looking to get a job, this would be great.
This is actually pretty good for a job. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not looking to get a job and you're looking to go and use it for thought leadership and build a following,
Mhm.
you need to go and speak to what is the problem? What is the pain that people are experiencing in their day to day that you're helping them with your content? Because
Mhm.
this kind of reads resume, which isn't bad. It's just if
Mm-mm.
that's not what you're going for, I would recommend changing it. And if you're looking to sell, even the same thing with building a following, who's it for? How are you going to help them? And how has your experience made you the most qualified person to do it? Everybody has unique experience.
I'd also consider, and I know saying this to head of a marketing is dangerous, but I'd also consider um, making the little blurb on Adnami. that is beneath this head of marketing, and then it's this blurb about the company, I would consider making that more casual. I would either bullet it out like we've seen in other profiles, and I'd also sort of fine tune the language to be more of a casual conversation thing on LinkedIn compared to some just sort of like standard brand collateral language. The only reason is I would throw that inside your experience section and have people like here have that brand standard language in your experience section, so then inside they get the sense of what the company is, but then the and interesting, currently on a super exciting mission to build
Yeah.
the marketing
I'm gonna put
department
that
from
first.
scratch. I would put that in your about section instead of in the experience section, and I sort of do like a little swapperoo.
Yeah, but takes people on a journey. Now they know why
Yeah.
they're following you, and it's going to be something they can, support you on.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
All right, great profile, thanks for submitting. Next is
Such a
Taha.
fun color.
I know it is. Next is Taha Ahmed.
Probably won't let me just go and click it. Holy, it's thinking.
There we are. All right, Taha. Oh, it's still thinking about loading.
Nope. Is it not? It's good on my side.
Oh, okay. Yep. There we go. So, first impressions is the header's obscured. I would swap the graphics here. I'd have text on the right.
And from what I can see, I'm going to reach out to sell you something.
Yep. Also as well. Now, interestingly, the elevating OTT streaming platforms is 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 it a shadow pitch? I don't know. But elevating is an interesting verb. I would keep it simpler, like what we saw with Laura's profile, B2B revenue attribution. That's what the product does. I would even maybe use something with this clear decisions with clear data concept that the header communicates. Because if you are using LinkedIn to sell, this profile and that tagline would immediately indicate to me that I'm going to get pitched when you send me a connection request. And so instead of accepting the connection request and enduring the pitch and saying no, I just will ignore the connection request. And most LinkedIn users will as well.
Yeah, you got to think about what's your category. What stepping into your customer's shoes, what do you know better than anyone else? You're the one that's talking to all these different customers. They don't normally get to talk to each other unless they're part of a group, and that's how you found them.
Hmm.
So, what is that category that you're supporting them with? How are you becoming that trusted advisor, that voice of reason, that profile they come to when they need help? And this just says, I'm going to reach out to you and sell you something.
Hmm. If you scroll down a little bit, Nick, on this to the experience section, there's an interesting personal brand play on this profile.
One thing,
Oh,
just
yeah.
scrolling down, no
Yep.
featured, which is
Hmm.
probably because they don't have
Creator mode. Yeah.
creator
Which is
mode
fine.
on, because you need creator mode to have featured. The last activity 3 hours ago, that's a red flag.
Hmm.
And then the next is 2 weeks. So this says, once again, throws the bad vibes of I'm just going to get sold.
Yep. So here's what's interesting. There's a lot of experience here, including the recent position with the UK Civil Service about 5G infrastructure providers, and now you've taken a sales role with a streaming platform or a measurement platform for streaming. So I wonder if there's an interesting story to tell if you want, as a part of your personal brand, about like exploring the future of the internet, or like how, or internet infrastructure, or something in this way in which you're tying these threads from your past experience together. And so while you currently hold a sales position with this platform, you're actually telling something a little bit bigger than just I sell for this platform. And that should be reflected in your activity feeds based on what you're commenting and sharing. And it should also be reflected in your headline. But maybe this is a way to start thinking about tying these things together.
I think one thing to point out that I see all the time, and I was such a culprit of this too, nobody cares about your patented anything. It's
Mm,
irrelevant because you haven't really told them why yet. What
yeah,
is the
who
the
cares?
big thing you're going to get, right? So I know it's annoying to hear, but who cares?
Yep.
They don't care about this. And same with the customers include Disney Plus and all these. That only matters if you're selling to enterprise and those types of companies. If
Hmm.
you personally are not selling to those size of companies, this is another who cares because it's not relevant to me. Cool, you're selling to big companies. I'm not a big company, so how do I know you can help me? You're probably just too expensive.
Yep.
And so we got to think about how it's interpreted by people and how we go and put this in so that it tells a story in a way that means something to them, not us.
Yep. Yeah, and see, even just like so, for an example, if you are actually selling to enterprise, you could redo a headline that's closer to like um
Ask me why
measure
Disney Plus trusts us.
literally like that. I mean, that's the
Boom.
a banger done, right? Like I have nothing really better than that. And honestly, like even if you wanted to do something a little more like what you do, like keeping in the spirit of your current one, I would just the elevating OTT streaming platforms. I would just do something um something around user engagement on streaming or market leaders. I'm thinking through terms that I would use, helping market leaders or working with market leaders that's kind of bland, but I'm sort of riffing off this idea of like, think about who you're trying to sell to and then have your tagline reflect what you actually do in that space.
Mm. If you work for a company that has those types of companies you're working with, look at case studies. Pull the
Oh.
information out of case studies, why people
Mhm.
used you. There's always a quote in those case studies. Put that in your banner image. Clean up your profile headshot. Get something with better clarity. Like make sure it's nice and crisp. Good smile. Good stance. You've
Yep.
got it zoomed in the right spot, and then try to pick something that the focus is on you and not the background. It kind of you don't stand out from the background.
Hmm.
But this is good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for submitting this. We're on to Jordan Crawford, Nick.
Jordan, who's this Jordan
I know.
Crawford?
Oh gosh, I know, right? Like,
Oh, he changed his tagline
I
too.
know.
Ooh, I love this.
All right,
This
so this
purple, all those
header is one of
pops.
my favorite headers of the day.
And I love that he went and highlighted the pain, not persona, because that is where your eyes, as you're thinking about this, you're like, yeah, you're gonna go and target by pain.
Yeah,
It actually goes, and that's where your where my
yeah,
brain goes to. And you're like, oh, so obviously that's what you wanted me to see.
yeah. Well, and actually, it's interesting from like a design sense. Your brain naturally goes back to this keyword systems because it sort of juts out on the right, and also it's a little bit different. And I'm sure we'll have notes on this headline where it's kind of clear what you do. It's not just outbound B2B that targets by pain, not persona. It's outbound B2B systems that target by pain, not persona. And that's enough for me to say, huh, what kind of systems? What does that mean? So I'm going to scroll. Photos great, smiling, upfront, personal.
Something maybe to play with too is the color contrast
Mm,
on the background, just so that when you're commenting, the gray won't really stand out. But if you use, say, the yellow, that would actually make you stand out as you're commenting because they'll see that little picture.
yeah,
B2B sales good, sales management good, sales development good. I don't know about the volume on prospecting and sales advice. I know
mhm.
sales tips does well, but that's something to consider as well. Good people also viewed. This is something to watch because it does update weekly.
It's funny. I sort of go back and forth on this tagline really quick, Nick, because in feed, this is the only thing you'll see, your name, photo, and tagline. And so then if I'm prompted to click the profile and I sort of see a header that says the same thing, I'm probably still prompted to scroll.
I would almost ask a question.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like ways to even experiment with this, Jordan, of like,
How can pain, how can prospecting by pain, not persona, change the game?
yeah,
Something kind of fun on that end.
or yeah, and even make it more specific or like, and I know on YouTube you have a channel with like very specific reply rates percentages, which is interesting. And I don't think that's really the use case here, but something in that neighborhood. See, now these
Maybe
are
scoring your
interesting.
TAM could be really interesting too.
Oh
Ask us how
yeah.
we can score your entire TAM, and then they'll see this, so they'll play
Or
together, right?
or even a more forward question, have you scored your TAM?
Yeah. Have you scored your entire TAM? We can help.
Yeah.
God, your camera's crisp. I'm so jelly. It's so good.
So these links is sort of like the case study of the advice we gave on other profiles because the headlines are really good. I would almost prioritize the how to score 100% of your TAM by pain as a link because it's the one as a user would prompt me to click because it's clear what I'm going to learn. I don't know enough to value Blueprint's pain-based signals or the Blueprint website link. So I almost wonder if that third video should be your first.
It's still, he has his link in there. I would
Yep.
play with how this comes up because you can change this.
Hmm.
And then I would focus on changing that thumbnail so it has something fun. You should go and take Jenny's like colors and do like that color pop and do like
Yeah.
whether it's cartoony, like that was so crisp.
Yeah. Some sort of color pop. Yeah.
And this might even be like this is a good tagline,
I
Jordan.
love that photo, Jordan, too.
That could even be your tagline. Why B2B outbound is broken today.
Yep.
Let's talk.
That's a thought
Post
catcher.
posting why B2B outbound is broken. Follow me.
Hmm.
You get such a simple call to action. Good, you got your 5. Yeah, I would just go and update that. Great activity. One thing I'll point out is posted, posted, posted. I know you're away, so I'm just gonna tease you, but this tells me that you're just shouting out at the world. You're not engaging, but I know you normally do. So this is just something to think about, guys. Is as you're going through, and if somebody's looking at this, if you don't have commented or different pieces, it won't work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My name. So he obviously changed this for just this live show. Well done, Jordan. The LinkedIn Oscar goes to Jordan Crawford, indeed. So for our Jordan writes, "My name is Nicholas, and I really love Jordan's profile. It's probably the best I've seen all year, maybe my entire life. There's just nothing to improve here. It's too good." Oh man.
Like,
So this is interesting because um, aside from the top level, the CTAs are actually pretty clear and they're also pretty casual. Uh, and he's clearly positioned for a specific audience here. I would, of course, be in favor of adding some more color inside the about section about what you do or some of the results, but that's also dependent on how you want to brand yourself.
that just kills me, Jordan.
That's really funny. Hey,
You did, but the one thing I'll mention really quick is he put a inside his experience. He tagged a link, which is the link that is the one that's in his featured.
mhm,
Use these sparingly to tell a story as people are going through here. Only link like images or links that you don't already have up top. But this is kind of like extras. Maybe it goes to your case studies. Maybe it goes to think about how people would naturally make a decision and tag those in. Because if they're going this deep, now they're looking maybe at social proof and credibility because that's why they're looking at your experience.
100%. All right. Are we ready to move on, Nick?
Let's do it.
We had a couple comments I just wanted to answer really quick, which is it's Cody Carnes, I think, is next. So Karina asks, what if your sales or business isn't conducted through LinkedIn? Is it now outdated to have a profile that reads more like a resume? It's a good question. My answer is that however you're using LinkedIn, your profile should be tailored to that. So if you are using LinkedIn as a job platform and you're looking to get employed, then I would advocate for a profile that looks a little bit more like a resume. Uh, but if you're using LinkedIn as a way to develop your personal brand or as a way to sell, then it should not look like a resume and it should look a lot more like some of these things that we've been talking about today.
Because commission-based sales reps
Okay,
make more money
Cody.
working less. So to connecting agencies with commission sellers or experienced commission sellers, I would just shorten this.
Yeah, experienced is better than high performing.
If they're not high performing, they'd be unemployed. They
Right.
wouldn't be working for you.
Yeah. What's the opposite of high performing? Come on.
So be careful with the extras that we throw in, because
Mhm.
then it makes people kind of roll their eyes like, well, if you weren't strategic, what would you be?
Mhm.
If you weren't collaborative, what would you be? Uh, make more money working less. So this make more money working less tells me that you're actually selling to the salespeople.
Yeah, there's sort of like some interesting
So you just make sure
jarring.
that if you're writing a profile for salespeople to go and get them, that works. But then this tagline doesn't work.
No,
Yes, keep
because
the
the
same theme.
agencies is prioritized in that tagline. Yeah. Really quick, Nick, before you scroll, just the only other thought I had here, the high performing commission based sales closers, the reason that immediately red flagged for us is that it sounds like a shadow pitch. You're not actually pitching them, but you're pitching them. And that's because you're using high performing, and uh, and it's about basically like the benefits or the results of working with you, which your tagline is not the place for that. That can exist elsewhere in your profile. So experienced commission based closers could be good, or even something simpler than that.
Okay. I just kind of the sake of time, do we want to go and kind of speed through?
Sure, we
We've
can.
staffed over
We're not
100
going to
sales team.
get
This
through everything today, but yeah.
I'll bump your featured up, have it above your about. Your about is staffed over 100 sales teams. This points to agency again. So just make sure that who you're talking to is the same person throughout, or else it gets confusing. Good emojis. This is a chunky. I would
Hmm.
look at cleaning it up. Uh, yeah, and then case studies, throw it in your featured. Don't
Hmm.
less is more. And good job on being active. Commented on post 10 minutes ago. Good job.
Yep. Nice job.
Hey, who's next?
Atheny, I think. There. There they are. And I apologize for butchering anybody's names during this show.
Or class. Increase your
So,
profit.
so my immediate 3 second test is that my eyes totally gloss over the headline.
Yeah.
It's just a little too much, which is fine. I understand what you're trying to do here, but I would probably strike that first section and then have a way to package the design systems for online entrepreneurs to easily manage their information projects and teams, which results in increased revenue and team productivity, into just like 7 words. I would completely, I don't know, strike the increased revenue and team productivity, because the pain that these online entrepreneurs are probably experiencing is more like there's too much to do, and not we're not productive enough. Like they would probably say, I would be interested to know if the customers say anything about productivity versus the house is on fire and we need to do something about it.
Well, this makes me think of like Justin Welsh and a few of the people that do this type of
Mm,
work.
hmm.
Go look at the influencers in your space that people are already going to that have trust, that are a good or their go-to source, and copy to a certain degree what they're saying, and also look at what people are asking them. And if you can find reviews online, look for
Hmm.
the reviews and see how people talk about them and what they're specifically looking for. It'll be good. I would change the color of your background. I like that you bolded the print and that
Love it.
that's what grabs my eye right away. That's why I didn't look at this. And I like this is fun. I would play with your colors,
Mm,
and maybe too if you blur out your background and put a color, it'll stand out in comments. Just something to consider, playing with color. I don't know about any of these hashtags, but if you search a hashtag, or actually in particular if you click a hashtag in a post, it'll pull up how many people are following that hashtag. People that
mhm,
follow a hashtag will tell you how much volume it gets, and then that way you get to go and kind of double dip.
mhm.
Posted
So
one
yeah, I
month,
mean,
1 month, 1 month.
this would be an opportunity to sort of like engage more, comment more, post some more frequent stuff, because the alarm bells would go off saying, well, maybe they're not super active if I was prospecting you. Or if I was an online entrepreneur looking at your profile, even if it said online, I'd look at this and go, oh, is she? Are they really active? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Empowering female entrepreneurs by streamlining their workflow so they can. So female entrepreneurs never came up before this. This is buried and would probably get missed.
Agreed.
So I would bump it up, and then your about is a good place to tell a story. So I would expand on that a little bit.
hmm
Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's do Ryan Ray next.
Oop.
There we go. All right.
I don't understand the relevance of this to me. Maybe it will stand out for someone else, but it doesn't tell me anything.
So yeah, I mean, it's actually interesting, Ryan. One of the things that immediately pops out is there's sort of like four different directions your tagline goes. There's a business development strategies, then there's a writer, and maybe this advisor and consultant. Then there's a keynote speaker, and then kind of this head of this consulting group is what it sounds like. So I would consider consolidating it to like one or two things, and strike anything about your positions because people will find that below. And I would be really, it's not clear who you serve. It's clear what you do in some ways, but it's not clear who you serve. So if I looked at this profile, I wouldn't know if you're for me, basically.
Yeah. I would take your wife out of the picture and just have you and
hmm
square yourself. You could even actually take this picture almost and just
Yeah.
cut that out because
It's a
you have a good smile and it's
great
just
point.
you. You
Yeah.
want to have a little bit of your shoulders, but this, am I working with a husband and wife team? But this is all about you. So
Mm-hmm.
it pulls away from that putting that face to the name.
Yep.
Five business, yeah. And then just double check your hashtags. A lot of these, there's a this one too. You gotta be careful. I've done this so many times where you accidentally spell it wrong, and then you're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Had that happen lots. Just make sure that they have good volume. And yeah, like Morgan was saying, what's the point in following you? That's how you shorten your sales cycles, is by
Mm.
giving people a reason to keep following and earn trust.
hmm
Featured. This is cool,
Yep.
but unless you're working in UFC, it's irrelevant. The careers in the oil and gas.
Yeah, I would prioritize any of the specific links to like what's relevant to your business here, as we've mentioned previously.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly a little confused on what you do from this. It
Mm.
doesn't really tell me. It's going in a lot of different directions. So maybe go talk to your customers and kind of dial that in. You have recent activity in the last 24 hours. That's good. I would invest into commenting
hmm
and not just posting. If you can go and schedule in like a half an hour a day. There's a little bit about me. Sell more with omni-channel strategies.
So that's interesting. It exists there, but nowhere else.
And maybe too, like think about, why does that matter? Nobody goes
Mhm.
and wakes up in the middle of the night and says, I would really love to take an omni-channel approach. That's exactly what I need. And I have $50,000 to go and do it.
Right.
We need to go and look at what is the pain and how it's experienced, and what is that problem and how does it show up in their lives, and
hmm
start with that, or tell a story.
hmm Agreed.
That's good. Good links. Good job,
Yeah, it's great. Ooh, hi, Natasha. Um, all right, let's go to Ben
Ben.
Samuels. Yes.
I'm going to be honest. The first thing that stands out is strategic sales and marketing. If you weren't strategic, you'd be unemployed.
Right.
It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Great headshot.
Great
I,
headshot.
I will say I had the same one where you're looking off in the distance and you kind of look stern. For whatever reason, when I switched to a smile, and I know Morgan told me this, and I didn't really give it too much credit, it boosted engagement a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. I,
Uh,
I don't think you need to use the same headshot twice. I think you could be a little more creative in the header
I
and
did that too.
yeah. I know. It's fine. Um I would also strike at least three of the things that are in your headline right now. I would keep it to like two things and what you do and who you help.
Yeah. Midstream, people like us say things like this. Good. It's good that it's off to the side, so it's not being covered. I
Hmm.
maybe would give somebody like Cole's notes on here of like what they'd actually do. Yeah, and this
Mm.
we will say adding podcast host and just say host of and what your show is gave us a definite boost.
Yep.
And yeah, make sure these hashtags are completely dialed in to where people are going to find your type of information.
Hmm.
But this, I wouldn't be quite sure. I just know what midstream is from
Mm.
being in
Hmm.
Calgary and working in oil and gas.
Yep. Um.
This is a featured post, but some big things coming soon doesn't tell me anything. So I
Hmm.
don't still it's not adding to like, holy cow, I really need to connect with Ben because Ben's doing some great things. And like
Or
with that
I saw
credibility,
Ben post and now I have an opportunity to, click a link and learn more about his company or what he's doing. And got posted and
yep,
such. That's
got
good.
got
I'd con-
regular posts,
Mhm.
comments, and it looks like you're putting your we won't go into too much depth, but you're putting your links inside your post. Throw it in the comments. You're going to get less reach doing it that way.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is penalizing people for doing that.
And just to clarify, it's less reach from posting a link in the post, not in the comments. So first thing that it just hit me is that this is in the third person, and in 2022, all of our profiles should be written in the first person.
Yeah, I always think when it's written in the third person, so much there's no point in following you because I'm just consistent,
Yeah.
or you're not a real person, or do you pay somebody to go and manage
Right.
your profile? We
And
need to
there's
always
a
talk in the first person if it's us.
Yeah, and there's a way to position yourself as an expert and as a thought leader and as somebody who has crucial insight into the industry and also write it in first person. This is a social media network. We're not pieces of paper on a wall and we're not connecting between pieces of paper on a wall. So this is a good opportunity to sort of just simplify and make it more personal and write it in the first person.
Use the Calendly link for featured. If you doesn't look like you have creator mode on, you could turn
Mm,
creator mode. Oh no, you do.
yeah.
And just not in it as a featured. Throw it in there so people have it right away.
Hmm.
And yeah, just make it so people don't have to go to your experience section to figure out who you are, or it's hard to connect with you.
Hmm. Let's go to Karina.
Yeah.
Yep.
Key account executive, 6+ years of B2B sales.
CPG, commodity, and food and bev. Okay.
I don't. I Your tagline tells me one thing. Your background picture tells me another.
I think
And so
that's what I was struggling with too. Yeah.
it pulls me in different directions because this says almost like business coach. So you're helping me plan and execute
Mm,
something, or what exactly are we doing? Good use of using the greater area to go and boost being found. You're If you're looking at distribution specialist, manager, retail, so you're getting recognized by the right people in that industry.
hmm.
That's good. Something to keep an eye on.
Scroll down. I kind of want to see what is going on here.
You want to see the go into
I,
the about right now, or
I want to look at the experience really quick. Account manager, manage and build relationships with businesses and sales. Okay, so it is clear. I'm not sure if your audience, Karina, is on LinkedIn. If you are using LinkedIn to sell, this profile doesn't feel oriented towards that. It feels oriented towards getting a job. But
yeah,
if you're only using LinkedIn to orient yourself to getting a job, this is actually pretty good, um, especially from a tagline perspective. It's just, I think we're sort of hitting up against like if you are using LinkedIn to do outreach to your prospects, this is going to be a tough profile to leverage because there's a lot of mismatch between what your prospects will see and what a hiring manager would see. And
yeah.
I suspect that based on Karina's earlier comment in the stream that she is oriented towards not using LinkedIn as a prospecting tool.
This preview at the image doesn't tell me anything, so it's kind of a wasted opportunity for a featured. This doesn't tell me why. I would just update. This is your opportunity to tell a story, right? And so if you want to reach out to us after, we can go and give you some other guidance. But this, we need to dial it in for who. So why them? Why now? If you can answer that with your customers, why them? Why now? And
Hmm.
really look at, what are you posting about? What are you passionate about? And why do people want to follow you? So not only are you earning trust at scale, but it's fun. Instead of just, doing the typical cold call and email path, it opens up another door for another source of deals.
Yes. Um, do we want to do one more? I know we're at time, Nick.
Sure. Who would you like to do?
I'm just looking.
I'm
Casey
up to
had said that he'll reach out later.
Okay.
So Cynthia,
Do you want to
I
do
think
Cynthia, or do you want to do? Let's do Crystal.
let's do
That's something,
Crystal.
because we
That could
haven't
be
done anything
interesting.
like that, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So I'll be honest with you, Crystal. Because I've known you from Twitter for the past like 10 or 12 years, I connected you with you because of that. I wouldn't have actually connected with you because you have a business profile.
Right.
It tells me you're just going to try and sell me, and all your content's just going to be promotions. And I'm not saying that you are this. I'm just saying that's usually what goes through my head, is that it's just a waste of time to have it in my feed.
So this is interesting, is like using a personal profile as a business page. I think this is probably fine. This is what was used many years ago, but today, like it's fine a number of years ago, but today I think LinkedIn is a lot more about who you are personally, and I would just keep it to you and have your name as your name.
Yeah. Make it about you, so people trust you because you do great work.
And I'd also use that language you have uh, in the header and simplify it for your tagline. As you, if you switch some of this over, instead of saying owner and photographer at Crystal Photography, I would have something around like corporate and commercial photography, or something about who you serve and what you do for them.
Yeah, something like capturing the best moment, and
Hmm.
something like that, or like what is the actual photography doing,
Hmm. Hmm.
and go and do that. Yeg business, Yeg marketing, Yeg construction. Click on those and see if anybody's using them. I don't think they're that popular. They may have worked on Twitter, but I don't think they work here. And you might want to open yourself up a little bit more. Yeg might be one with Edmonton, but just double check your hashtags to make sure you're showing up in the right places and with other influencers in the space, so that you guys get to have collaboration and conversations to expand your reach.
Mm. Hmm.
Featured. Yeah, these are all showcasing the work you've done. That's good. I would kind of, adding to your story, is like, use this maybe to go and show the ones you're the most proud of, not just the biggest, and make it something like beautiful. But these are all just images. Maybe look at putting that in a post and having it so you're telling a story through a post with that image. And don't put the link in the post, put it in the comments.
Hmm.
And then that way you're storytelling and capturing that moment and telling something bigger.
Hmm. Um, I love it. I love everything that Nick has said so far. I'm not sure if I have too much to add.
And then just post, reshare, reshared, post. We got to be social on social media. So this tells me that you're mainly just pushing out content. And then ever have one of these days, this
Hmm.
is, you're limited to 5 with creator mode.
Hmm.
And so this would actually just get crushed.
Yeah.
LinkedIn wouldn't push it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Stand out in a snap. Perfect tagline. Boom.
That is a great freaking tagline. Throw that up there. All right.
This doesn't work anymore. All
Mm-mm.
the different the SEO, I would highly recommend not doing this. But if you're doing past and current clients, pick 5 and really think of the campaign you're running and who you're looking to get and who you're connecting with, who are the most relevant so that it adds credibility. This is just a little too much block of text, but put that tagline, take that and put in your tagline. That's great. And then,
Mhm.
yeah,
Um, all right. So we're at time. We had so many profiles to review. We have an interesting question in the chat. On our end, it's anonymous, by the way. But I pulled up the stream and it's Eileen. Hi, Eileen Day. You may want to check your privacy settings just in case it happens. Uh, Eileen had asked, I want to orient my profile for both prospecting and job opportunities. Should I change only when I'm actively looking for a position and keep it prospecting focused the rest of the time? Such a good question.
the funny irony that I've found in my career, and Morgan, correct me if you have had a different experience, the times that I've got the best jobs and when I wasn't looking.
Yep, 100%.
And so when you look like you're just good at what you do, that you're just driving forward, it gives you more bargaining power. So I find that when you shift your profile to looking for work, sometimes can actually work against you. And so it's if you're a creator, if you're a thought leader, just keep driving forward because hopefully you're not changing too much and deviating from like where you are right now. You might, but you're going to keep building that network, keep driving forward. And as you're talking to people, you might throw that into comments and then you might go and track people that way using social.
Yep.
But your profile, when you put it out there, you might just say open to work. But if you make it all about what you're looking for, I find that it's just not as effective right now for whatever reason.
I think it's about personal branding mostly. Um, and like if you're using LinkedIn properly to prospect and you're not just doing cold DMs and emails all the time, you're also commenting and you're engaging and you're building trust with your prospects. And inside your industry, you're developing your personal brand. So for me, the question is not, should I have a profile for prospecting and then should I have a profile for job opportunities? It's what do I want to be known for? Because those questions inform both. And employers and recruiters will pull up a really well branded personal profile on LinkedIn and say, oh, wow, we should reach out to her. And so that comes not from tailoring a profile for, job hunting versus prospecting. It comes from building a presence on the platform and being social. So
Jeffrey had a good question. I'll just answer really quick. React to your own post. There's when you see a whole bunch of people engage really quick with a post right after you post, it gets better reach.
mhm.
Uh, that's why I do it. I don't usually am not the first person to comment I'll be the first person to comment, but I won't be the first person to like. Just something to consider.
Mhm,
It right now it's working. LinkedIn may change that in the future, as
mhm.
they seem to like to do anyway.
So, for everyone who's here with us this morning, we're a little over time. I saw Cynthia's question just came in, so maybe we'll answer this. But I have an exciting announcement, so we can answer Cynthia's question first. Maybe
Let's do it.
Cynthia had asked, turning
Ooh, good
off
one.
the people also viewed. She was advised to turn it off. Nick is shaking
No.
his head.
Yeah, that's in the old days. People were worried about business being stolen. With
Mm,
social, it's social proof and it's credibility that's made value deposits over time. If somebody is just looking for all the competitors, you don't want them because they're price shopping.
yeah.
So screw them, let them go somewhere else. But with social proof, if the people that also viewed are of a high caliber, it adds credibility to your profile. So I would 100% leave it on.
100% agreed. So, for everyone who's still with us today, if we didn't get your profile and we have a list of names of people who might be watching who we didn't get to, I will do a quick little profile review after today's live show and send it to you on LinkedIn. And if you want it, like I had offered at the beginning, and I see I have some DMs on LinkedIn, a review like this really quick, I'm more than happy to do that, and I'll send it along your way. Just send me a DM on LinkedIn. But exciting announcement for the next 3 weeks, we have special guests on this Friday live show. And I am so excited for each of these guests. I'm not going to spoil any of the fun. The next week's is already live to register. It's about discovery with Megan Miziak. She's amazing. It's going to be an awesome live show, and we're going to have some incredible guests over these next few weeks. And I'm thrilled that we have some fun new faces on the show.
It'd be fun.
So make sure if you're not already following Nick, as that's the main place to get the event announcements, and you can scroll through his activity feed and find the events to register for. Um, we do B2B Power Hour every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, and wherever that works out on Eastern time, 12, I think.
And if you guys love us so much and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait until Friday, we also have a community where we support each other. We go and put out the best practices. We have a Slack channel and we're there to support each other. Really, it's what the biggest thing is. Nobody should ever have to suffer in silence in 2022. So if you need help, if you want to go and learn how to post better, if you want to go and work with others that are going through the same journey, join our community and we'd be happy to help you. Plus, we also have a Monday show that is on Zoom that we specifically go through additional Q&A.
So you can go to b2bpowerhour.com, click that community, join in. Got a Slack, Monday night calls, all the rest. We'd love to have you. And otherwise, happy
See you
Friday.
next. Happy Friday. Happy Easter. Take care,
Yep.
everyone.
Thanks. Bye.